Where the hell is the next Castlevania game? I mean, come on, Konami. Yo, what's good? It's Miss Tora. Some of y'all may not be aware of this, but I am a massive Castlevania fan. Back when I competed in Smash Bros, I'm telling you, I lost my mind when Richter was revealed for Ultimate. I mean, he's my favorite Belmont. Simon was cool and all, don't get me wrong, but when Richter came across that screen, I screamed my lungs out. And after watching the Castlevania Nocturne Season 2 trailer recently, I got to thinking, with how spectacular and successful the anime has been across 4 whole seasons for the original Castlevania show, and with Castlevania Nocturne being amazing and again getting its own second season, why on earth has Konami not capitalized on all of that attention, critical acclaim, and overall success by releasing a new Castlevania game or even games? I swear, video game devs, or more likely the publishers, just aren't utilizing their IP's full potential in this regard. I understand there's always a possibility of a show flopping. I get that. But when it succeeds massively and there's no game to follow it, considering these shows are based off of the games, it just ends up feeling like a massive missed opportunity. I mean, look, this doesn't pertain just to Castlevania. It happened with the recent Fallout live action series as well, which was beloved in its own right. When it released and everyone watched it, people were starving for Fallout games, but there weren't any new ones to be found or even heard of in terms of being in development. Do you know what filled that void of a new entry in the Fallout series for both new and old fans that were just itching for something after watching the show? Fallout London, a game that wasn't even made by Bethesda. It's a modded standalone expansion to the base game of Fallout 4. However, even that description doesn't necessarily do it justice. I mean, it may be a mod, but it's independent of Fallout 4, like I said, as a standalone expansion, similar to like Infamous First Light or XCOM Enemy Within. However, Fallout London's story can take upwards of 20 hours to complete, with a few dozen hours extra being tacked on if you're going to try to do all of the side content. That doesn't seem like just a mod or a DLC expansion to me. It sounds like an entirely new Fallout game. And if you ask me, that's honestly kind of embarrassing for Bethesda. Even if a new Fallout game is very likely in development by them, the show came out back in April of 2024, and with the Elder Scrolls 6 confirmed to be their next big thing, I imagine that the next Fallout game is many years away. Even if it miraculously came out this year, right? I still feel like that's far too late, and that the hype train would for sure be long gone by then. Maybe not entirely, you know what I'm saying, as a new Fallout game is sure to get many fans excited, but that extra boost they had following the show's conclusion is for sure definitely gone by now. The same also happened for The Last of Us and its live action TV series, which came out in 2023, with The Last of Us Part 2, the video game, having released back in 2020. Again, coming into 2025, and nothing new has been announced for the series video game wise. The only thing fans for a new game actually got was a confirmed cancellation of that one The Last of Us multiplayer game that was in development, and with Naughty Dog confirming that their next big project is a new IP entirely, that being the new intergalactic The Heretic Prophet, it feels pretty safe to say that in terms of video games, we can expect nothing The Last of Us wise for quite some time. I feel like it's a similar story with Arcane as well, a wildly popular animated series with 2 incredibly dope seasons to its name, and yet I feel like Riot, and by extension League of Legends, they haven't done nearly enough to capitalize on all the new attention. I mean, sure, they've released several Arcane themed skins for League as well as some of their other titles, and 2XKO is shaping up to be a great looking tag fighting game. However, for those that are fans primarily of Arcane, with that being their introduction to the League of Legends universe / lore, I personally don't think that League itself or 2XKO are the kind of games that they're interested in picking up. Riot themselves even partially confirmed this by admitting that Arcane didn't translate into as many new consistent League players as they would have liked. All of this brings me back to Castlevania, a video game series I want so badly to come back into the modern day and cement itself as one of the greats again with a new game. I've always thought that throughout its history, Castlevania has told some amazing stories with the potential to tell so many more, something that is clearly evident by its several seasons of the animated series. And I feel like the world of Castlevania would benefit so much from a new game in this current day and age. I mean, gaming in terms of just quality titles to pick up is in such a fantastic state. There are truly remarkable games being put out constantly. It's a problem that we have more nowadays than we've ever had before. And that isn't necessarily a bad problem to have, you know what I'm saying? The recent God of War games are such a fantastic evolution of what they once were in terms of gameplay, storytelling, themes, lore, world building, and so much more. And that's a great example of what I think could happen for Castlevania as well. And I really do think that Castlevania has a great shot, a truly great shot at being that next big gaming revival if the series was to attempt such an evolution into the current gen of gaming itself. At least that's if Konami doesn't screw it up. They've recently begun making true games again when you look at everything they have planned to release in the future, including, you know, new Silent Hill titles and an in-house developed Metal Gear Solid 3 remake. The Silent Hill 2 remake was dope, but Konami themselves didn't develop that, so we'll have to wait and see if all the years of focusing on pachinko machines hasn't made them too rusty in terms of putting out a good quality, solid, actual video game. My issue though is, like I said, that sometime, hopefully not too long, after the release of these great animated series or a new season of it, that's the perfect time to have a new game in the series the show is based off of to either be announced or released entirely. Hell, I'm grateful that we even got so many seasons of the Castlevania anime, as it's one of my favorites of all time. But I would just hate to see all the new hype and attention the series has been getting fizzle out before all of its fans, both new and old, get to experience a game with the same amazing storytelling and world building that the animated series had, with, of course, some absolute badass Castlevania gameplay to accompany it. I know that from 2010 to 2014, I believe, we were treated to an attempted reboot of the Castlevania series of games with the Castlevania Lords of Shadow titles. But similar to God of War, I think we are due for another go-around in the 2020s. As for what kind of Castlevania game I'd like to see release if we were to hopefully get a new one, I'm honestly cool with several different spins on a new title. I'd be down to see something in the vein of its most recent Lords of Shadow games being similar to the recent God of War games we got, just refreshed for this new era of gaming, you know, or even an attempt at a 3D Metroidvania style game, as I consider Lords of Shadow 1 and 2 and those God of War games that I keep bringing up to be action adventure games, so there are a few differences to be had between those two genres. Even something else entirely, I'd be down to see, as long as Castlevania gets another shot in the gaming limelight. The only direction I hope Konami wouldn't go with such a title is the 2D side-scrolling route. Look, I love the old Castlevania games, but it's pretty clear that following Symphony of the Night and later on the Lords of Shadow games, that the old side-scrolling adventure game style of Castlevania was simply left in the past, where I personally do think it belongs. But yeah, that's gonna do it for this video, y'all. Tell me what you think. Are game devs / publishers leaving too much on the table by not capitalizing more off of the success of their various TV series, or are they playing it smart, being safe by letting the success and by extension the potential downfall of such series be something as separate as possible from their video games entirely. I'm Miss Dora, and as always, I appreciate y'all for checking out my video, and I will catch you on the next one. Be easy.